Hey all, Shunks here. It's officially approaching 1 year since I uploaded the first My Little Pony iceberg video. And to commemorate that, I'm compiling the first 3 Friendship is Magic icebergs into one definitive video. There are things I didn't do enough research about, or didn't get correct in the originals, but instead of interrupting your precious My Little Pony iceberg watching experience, I'm just gonna put in a little itty-bitty developer commentary type thing. I'm not going to waste any more of your time right now, so stick till the end for my thoughts on the series as a whole and the future of the channel. Ah, the iceberg image. If you've been on the internet in the past year, you've probably seen some variation of it. Super Mario 64, Minecraft, Pokemon, Five Nights at Freddy's, etc. As for My Little Pony, there's actually a few out there. They aren't all that great though. Most of them are either complete jokes or in a different language that I'm too lazy to translate. So, since I wouldn't find any good MLP iceberg videos to watch, I decided to make my own.
With blackjack and hookers!
Ta-da! Here it is, my definitive MLP iceberg. Before we start, I just want to go over how these types of videos work in case anyone's confused. At the top is information that everybody knows, but as we move down the iceberg, the information gets more dark or obscure. Now that that's out of the way, let's take a deep dive into the waters of Equestria. This is a My Little Pony iceberg. MLP FIM. First airing in 2010, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic follows Twilight Sparkle as she and her friends go on adventures and solve problems in their everyday lives. Bronies. Brony is a term coined by 4chan for male fans of Friendship is Magic. The butt of many jokes in other internet circles, bronies were and still sometimes are used as an example of bizarre internet subcultures by the mainstream media. The brony fandom was big in the early 2010s at the peak of the show's popularity, but hasn't really seen a resurgence since. Fans of the show still exist, but the label has fallen out of fashion for most of them, this being either out of shame or because of other things we'll be seeing later. FIM Seasons 1 through 4. The first 4 seasons of Friendship is Magic are considered the golden age by many fans, Seasons 1 and 2 especially due to the involvement of the creator Lauren Faust. Before creating Friendship is Magic, Faust was previously known for working on shows like Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends and the Powerpuff Girls, both created by her husband Craig McCracken. Equestria Girls. Equestria Girls is a spin-off franchise from the Friendship is Magic toy line and cartoon. The series follows human versions of the main 6 as they attend Canterlot High and deal with otherworldly threats. The first movie in the series was released in 2013 after Season 3 and had a limited run in theaters. MLP The Movie 2017. My Little Pony The Movie is a 2D animated theatrical film based on Friendship is Magic that was released in 2017. The movie is known for its distinct art style compared to the show and its introduction of many new characters who would either appear or be referenced as the series continued into Season 8. G1 and G3. While Generation 1 is what many think of when they hear about My Little Pony, earlier versions of MLP, particularly Generation 3, were hated by bronies who had gotten into the franchise when G4 was coming out. This is mostly because of how earlier My Little Pony series were written with only little girls in mind as opposed to G4, which was intended for all ages. Discord. Discord is a song by Eurobeat Brony based on the character of the same name. It's commonly associated with early 2010s fandom culture, particularly Homestuck edits. The song is nostalgic for many people who remember it from back in the day, and is probably the most well-known MLP fan song. Ponytown. Ponytown is an online MMO where players are able to create their own pony and interact with other players. Besides members of the MLP fandom, people in other fandoms such as Homestuck and Danganronpa will commonly use the site to show off their custom ponies. The Rainbow Dash Jar. The Rainbow Dash Jar is an infamous 4chan post about a brony who stuck a Rainbow Dash figure in a jar and began to fill it up with Elmer's glue. It's revealed that the jar was placed on top of a radiator, and that, quote,
Rainbow Dash figure has been boiled.
The reason this is so high up on the iceberg is because since then the incident has gained mainstream meme status and is the #1 example people will use to highlight the sheer degeneracy of the brony fandom. There's an old saying that goes, if a tree falls in the forest and nobody is around to hear it, does it make a sound? Well, when bronies are brought up and the Rainbow Dash jar isn't mentioned, did that discussion ever really happen? The Hub Network. The Hub Network was a block on the Discovery Kids channel that featured shows based on Hasbro properties, like Transformers, Pound Puppies, Littlest Pet Shop, and yes, My Little Pony. In 2014, the block was cancelled and replaced with Discovery Family. FIM Seasons 5 through 9. Season 5 was the point in which many fans stopped watching the show. Nevertheless, Friendship's magic continued for 5 more seasons after the Season 4 finale. During this time, the formula of the show was changed several times with the Cutie Map and the School of Friendship. New characters like Starlight Glimmer were also introduced as an integral part of the cast. MLP the Movie, 1986. My Little Pony the Movie was released in 1986, obviously. Out of all the G1 material, the movie, along with its antagonist, the Smooths, seems to be remembered the most by fans. MLP. MLP is for its dedicated My Little Pony board, which was created after pony posting became popular on the Co and B boards. MLP is the only board where pony posting is allowed, and doing so in any other board will result in your post being taken down by the mods. 20% cooler. A line in the episode Suited for Success, where Rainbow Dash says, became a popular inside joke among bronies and was even the inspiration for a song by artist Ken Ashcore. BronyCon. Throughout the 2010s, the rise in pop culture conventions and spread of the brony fandom led to dozens of My Little Pony conventions being held around the United States and other territories. Most well-known being BronyCon. The convention would be held every year from 2011 to 2019 on the east coast of the United States, and would feature panels with show staff and brony fan creators, as well as an enormous vendors hall. Players and other eccentric people of all types could be found roaming the halls, and overall it seemed like a great time. At this point, I should probably mention Jenny Nicholson and her brony fandom analysis video. Some of the topics I mentioned from here on out, including this one, are things that she mentions in her video, and I should give credit where credit is due. Background 6. Bronies have a habit of getting attached to background characters from MLP, the biggest example being the Background 6. Derpy Hooves is obviously the most well-known, her entire character being based on an animation error from the pilot. Fans of Doctor Who projected their love of the show onto a background pony with an hourglass for a cutie mark, calling him Dr. Hooves. Lyra Heartstrings and Bonbon are two background ponies who are often shipped together. Bonbon isn't that notable, but for some reason Lyra was given the personality of wanting to be a human by bronies. Octavia Melody and Vinyl Scratch, later named DJ Pone 3 by Hasbro, are two incidental ponies who got shipped together. Guess bronies love the opposites attract trope. Fallout Equestria. Fallout Equestria is a fan fiction written by the anonymous K-Cat. The series is a crossover between Friendship is Magic and the Fallout video game series by Bethesda. As of 2013, the entire thing is 0.6 million words and is one of the longest self-published pieces of derivative fiction in history. Mordecai. This ship between Twilight Sparkle and Mordecai from regular show spawned a lot of weird fan art when it was popular, including this iconic image. Friendship is Witchcraft. Any anime fan can tell you what an abridged series is. MLP fans are no strangers to it too. Friendship is Witchcraft was a series of Friendship is Magic episodes, which replaced the episode plots and song numbers with new ones, but kept the original footage. This was created by the group Sherclop Pones and is responsible for many unforgettable concepts and moments. These include Sweetie Bot, Pinky's Brew, Pinky's Bard, and Twilight's It'll Be Okay song. Smile HD. Made by animator Mr. Davey, Smile HD is an infamous animation which depicts Pinkie Pie brutally demonetizing the rest of the main six, set to a remix of the Smile song from Friendship is Magic. Cupcakes and Rainbow Factory. Cupcakes and Rainbow Factory are two fanfictions that depict ponies being unalived by Pinkie Pie and Rainbow Dash respectively. I chose to put these two separate from Smile HD because of how often the two are lumped in together. Cupcakes received an animated adaptation by our old friend Mr. Davey, set to the song Ready to Die by Andrew WK. Yes, the Destroyed Build Destroy guy. Rainbow Factory was the basis for a song by the artist Wooden Toaster, which later got an animated music video made for it by the animator Brony Dance Party. Banned from Equestria Daily. Banned from Equestria Daily is an 18-plus point-and-click dating sim that allows you to interact with various ponies from the show. The game was developed by PokeHidden, and believe it or not, was banned from Equestria Daily. What's Equestria Daily, you might ask? Let's travel further down the iceberg and find out. Equestria Daily. Equestria Daily is a fan site that was started by Sean Scatellero in 2011, which focused on news and discussion for Friendship is Magic. The site is still up today and regularly hosts fan art and the occasional piece of news relating to the franchise. Lauren Faust's inspiration. Creator Lauren Faust originally based Friendship is Magic off the stories she made up when she would play with her My Little Pony toys as a kid. As a result, the main six all have G1 counterparts. Twilight and Applejack share their names with their G1 incarnations. Fluttershy is based on Posy, Pinkie Pie on Surprise, Rarity on Sparkler, and Rainbow Dash is based on Firefly. My Little Pony Tales. Often mistaken for Generation 2, My Little Pony Tales came at the end of Generation 1, in the early 90s. The show is different from its predecessor, My Little Pony and Friends, in that it takes place in a ponified version of our modern world, and is more character-based. G3.5. Generation 3.5, or G3.5 for short, was a short-lived era of MLP with more exaggerated chibi-esque character designs. Only one straight-to-video movie and a handful of shorts were produced before G3 came to a proper close and Friendship is Magic premiered. Pony Life. Pony Life is the most recent TV series based on the MLP toy line. The series follows the main six from FIM, but with a different tone from the original. Reactions to Pony Life have been mixed to good, and personally, I don't really mind it. The vibe of the show feels like it's just something to hold fans over between G4 and G5, and will probably be forgotten in a year or two. IDW Comics. IDW currently owns the rights to publish comics for MLP and has been doing so since 2012. The most recent publication continues the story of FIM, beyond the Season 9 finale. MLP Mobile. The MLP FIM game by Gameloft is a standard city-building game for iOS, Android, and Windows platforms. The game has you building your own Ponyville and collecting ponies from the show as you go along. It also features story quests and various minigames. FIM Pop Culture References. FIM, like any other cartoon from its time, features several references to other properties. The more noticeable of these are Indiana Jones, The Big Lebowski, Doctor Who, Metal Gear, and I Love Lucy. Nods to MLP also exist in other media, like Bob's Burgers, Transformers, and the short-lived ABC series The Neighbors. Derpy Buru. Derpy Buru is an image hosting site for artists to share their MLP fan art. Like many other MLP fan sites, it's still up but isn't as active as it once was. Fluttercord and Appledash. Fluttercord and Appledash were two popular fanships that were heavily implied but not outright stated to be canon in the Season 9 finale. Little Cheese. Little Cheese is the daughter of Pinkie Pie and Cheese Sandwich, a pony voiced by Weird Al Yankovic. Knowing this, it's now canon in the show that Pinkie Pie and Weird Al... Brony documentary. Bronies is a 2012 documentary about, you guessed it, bronies. The movie was put into production after Discord's voice actor, John Delancey, wanted to make a quick buck, shine a light on the misunderstood fandom. After it was leaked to file-sharing websites, the film was released incomplete to Netflix by the producers, with hours of content reportedly being lost. Pinkie Pie clones are alive. This is the first proper theory on the iceberg, but was outright confirmed in the episode The Saddle Row Review. Episode Too Many Pinkie Pies ends with a horde of Pinkie Pie clones being vaporized by Twilight in order to figure out which one is the real Pinkie. It's theorized that a few of them managed to escape and are still roaming around Equestria. Animation errors. Every show has animation errors, including MLP. Unlike other cartoons that came out around the same time, MLP used puppet rig animation for its characters. This results in mistakes that are at best amusing and at worst unsettling. Examples include Pony's eyelashes turning upside down, Daring Do with 5 hooves, and Long Neck Rainbow Dash. Derpy censorship. The episode The Last Roundup originally had Rainbow Dash refer to Derpy by her fan-given name. Later airings of the episode removed the name, changed Derpy's voice, and made her slightly less cross-eyed after Hasbro worried her portrayal might have come off as ableist. Derpy's canon name was later revealed to be Ditsy Doo in 2012 and was again changed to Muffins in 2014. Leaks. Over the years, MLP has had a variety of leaks. The latest example was in 2018, where information about Generation 5 was leaked, along with proposed character designs for a reimagining of the main six. Twilight X Thomas the Tank Engine. Just like Mortitwi, this ship comes with its own batch of weird fan art, specifically from this one Tumblr blog I couldn't find the name of. Princess Molestia. Princess Molestia is a meme within the MLP community of a perverted version of Princess Celestia. The meme was started by a Tumblr blog by the name of Ask Princess Molestia. Pony.mov. Created by Hot Diggity Demon, the Pony.mov series follows perverse versions of the main six as they try and stop Discord from tearing up Ponyville. The most recognizable of these is Shed.mov, which is similar to Cupcakes but replaces Pinkie Pie with Fluttershy. Luna Game. Luna Game is an MLP fan game uploaded to Equestria Daily. The game is similar to something like Sonic.exe, where you walk for a bit and then get jump scared. The game received a few sequels, but people only seem to remember the first one. Sweet Apple Massacre. Sweet Apple Massacre is a disturbing fanfiction written by a user on the site fanfiction.net, only known as Big Macintosh 2011-1. I'm not sure if I can say the exact contents of the story, but I'll just say it's like Cupcakes but worse. Way worse. Political messages. Some of the morals in Friendship is Magic can be considered political messages by certain people, like the buffalo over a barrel being coded as indigenous people. Other concepts the show tackles include totalitarianism and immigration. Friendship is Magic season canonicity. Certain members of the MLP fandom discard the later seasons of the show as non-canon due to it straying away from the tone of the earlier seasons. The Season 3 finale was a big turning point in this, with Twilight becoming an alicorn. Pick your poison. Is everything before Season 8 canon? Before Season 3? Or maybe you're a diehard purist, and Season 1 is the only true canon season of Friendship is Magic. FanKid AUs. If you look at the MLP community on Instagram, you're probably going to end up coming across one of these. These FanKid AUs, or alternate universes, are ultimately harmless and are a fun thing to come up with if you're a fan of FIM's world, but are still pretty weird. MLP novels. Just like Star Wars, Friendship is Magic has a few novels that expand the universe of the show. These come in a few varieties. You have the main series, the Equestria Girls series, the Daring Do Adventure Collection, the Princess Collection, the 2017 movie series, and Ponyville Mysteries. Ponyville Mysteries is actually notable for introducing a new character named Lilymoon, who's exclusive to the books and has never appeared in the show. Luster Dawn's parents. Luster Dawn is a pony that appears in the very last episode of the show after a time skip. Fans wonder if she's related to any previously established character or is completely new. Most believe she's the daughter of Sunburst and Starlight Glimmer. Button Mash Cease and Desist. The Adventures of Button Mash was going to be a series of fan-made shorts based on the background pony of the same name. Before a second episode could be completed, Hasbro's third-party legal counsel filed a cease and desist letter against the creator, Jan Animations. Since then, the Button Mash incident lives in infamy as an example of Hasbro meddling in fan creators' business. Trans ponies. Some fans noticed a background pony named Carmel completely switching from a stallion to a mare, and began to headcanon her as trans. But what more people know about is that Trixie is trans headcanon. In some concept art for Friendship is Magic, it was revealed that Trixie was originally going to be a boy, but was changed to a girl. Also, people have compared her voice to those going through male-to-female voice training. Lesbian ponies already exist in Equestria, so trans ponies wouldn't be too hard to believe. Non-canon ships. For all the ships that were canonized at the end of Friendship is Magic, there are a lot of non-canon ones that people were disappointed to not see. These include Rarijack, Flutterdash, and Sparity. Rarity's secret child. Some believe that Sweetie Belle is actually Rarity's daughter instead of her little sister. Somehow Rarity had her at a young age and needed to hide it. This was pretty much debunked in the episode Sisterhood Social, where Rarity and Sweetie Belle's parents appear. That didn't stop fans from pushing their headcanon. Who knows, maybe these are Sweetie Belle's grandparents who just play along for the sake of their daughter. Lost Pegasus Unicon 2013. This was an infamous brony convention that happened in Las Vegas, Nevada. There are so many things that went wrong with this convention that it's hard to name them all. The hotel the con was held at was going bankrupt at the time, and the organizers didn't even pay, saying they'd have the money after everything was said and done and the convention was in full swing. This was not the case. The organizers couldn't pay enough money and everyone began to get kicked out of the hotel. The resulting mess goes down in history as the worst pony convention of all time, and one of the worst examples of con mismanagement. Come On, Join Us Here in Equestria. Come On, Join Us Here in Equestria is a wonderfully dark image that surfaced in 2016. The picture shows an off-model Fluttershy and Twilight urging the viewer to... The image is actually a variation on this picture, photoshopped from one of the Sonic Archie comics. Straight Jacket Pony. The episode Read It and Weep features a pony who only appears for a few seconds. It's implied that she somehow escaped from the psych ward at the Ponyville Hospital. This tells us that mental illness somehow exists in the happy-go-lucky world of Equestria. Hearts and Hooves Day Funeral. Speaking of Read It and Weep, in that episode Rainbow Dash is stuck next to a pony in full-body casts. The next episode, Hearts and Hooves Day, has a scene taking place at a funeral. Could this be the pony we saw last episode? Clopping. Clopping is a play on the term fapping, used for when you enjoy certain risque MLP fan art. Offensive fan art. 4chan is known for its brand of tasteless, edgy humor. Since a lot of bronies originate there, it's no surprise that some of the fan art is on the same level of yikes. Examples include Applejack owning slaves, Rainbow Dash at a concentration camp, and ARENT, a blonde-haired, blue-eyed pony whose cutie mark is something I can't show, but isn't too hard to figure out. 2008 Show Bible. My Little Pony Adventures was the pitch Bible for Friendship is Magic. For the most part, it resembles the final show, with a few small changes such as designs and character names. Twilight would have had a different color palette and would have been named Twilight Twinkle after her G3 counterpart. Big Mac and Apple Bloom would have also been named Big Apple and Appleseed respectively. Princess Celestia was originally Queen Celestia before it was changed to appeal to little girls. Zecora was originally just referred to as Shaman. And Pinkie Pie was way more hyperactive than she is in the final show. Along with the changes, a ton of Lauren Faust's old sketches for FIM can be found in here, including a male Trixie. MLP Live. MLP has had a couple of live shows throughout the years. The first notable one was the World's Biggest Tea Party from 2007. G4 had a few smaller shows at shopping malls and stuff like that, but in 2020 there was going to be a theatrical stage show just called My Little Pony Live. Due to COVID-19, the show was postponed. But you can still listen to a few song demos on composer Jeff Thompson's SoundCloud page. Fire alarms and Don't Jump. Two inside jokes from the MLP convention scene are Don't Jump and The Great BronyCon Fire. Don't Jump was based on one instance where the floor of one of the hotels wasn't sturdy enough to support an entire crowd of bronies jumping up and down to the sweet dubstep music playing at the time. The other was when one of the light fixtures at a convention caught fire for a bit. Nobody was hurt, but the sprinklers reportedly went off and people were forced to evacuate. Not Salmon. Not Salmon is the off-topic tag on the site Derpy Buru. The reason it's called this is because it's meant to encompass anything that isn't a salmon. Horse Famous. Horse Famous is a term used to describe popular MLP fan creators. Examples include AC Race Best, Saber Spark, Two Snacks, Animated James, Piemations, Dr. Wolf, Silver Quill, and I Love Kim Possible a lot. Body pillows. Body pillows, also known by their Japanese name Dakimakura, are elongated pillows, usually with a picture of an anime character on them, used to live out your fantasies with that certain character. MLP ones are incredibly popular, especially at conventions. Flash Sentry is dead. Flash Sentry is a character in the Equestria Girls movies who briefly appeared in the Friendship is Magic TV show. Due to negative backlash by fans, he only ever made a few cameos in Season 4 before mysteriously disappearing altogether. What happened to him? Hopefully not something bad. Spooky Jack. Spooky Jack is the name of a video of somebody getting into a disturbing looking Applejack suit. Most people remember the video for the pony's soulless, unblinking eyes and the haunting screams that come from within. Poundin' Pumpkin Cake's real parents. In the episode Baby Cakes, Mr. and Mrs. Cake, two Earth ponies, have kids that are a unicorn and a Pegasus. While Mr. Cake claims it's from recessive genes, audiences inferred something else. Mr. Cake? More like Mr. Cuck. T-Rex family. T-Rex seems to be the only centaur we see in Equestria. His brother Scorpan appeared in G1, but is only mentioned in the Season 4 finale of FIM. Meanwhile, Discord mentions King Vorak being T-Rex's father. Where is Scorpan? Where are the other centaurs in general? Maybe the IDW comics will give fans an answer someday, but for now, the best we can do is speculate. Discord's origins. Where does Discord come from? Was he created by the original Grogar? Maybe he's a being that's existed since the beginning of time, only rising to power once Celestia and Luna begin their reign. Or maybe Discord was created by the universe naturally, as sort of an antithesis to the Tree of Harmony. Stellar Eclipse. Stellar Eclipse was the OC of a child with spinal muscular atrophy and uses a wheel cart to get around. Thanks to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the show staff drew the OC into the show. Problems started popping up when a few members of the MLP community began to draw NSFW art of the character, causing an outrage. This year, a comment on a Reddit post relating to the incident stated that the thing was blown slightly out of proportion, and that neither the Make-A-Wish Foundation nor the show staff intervened like others claimed. Sombra and Celestia. Many fans wonder how King Sombra of the Frozen North came to power. Some speculate that he had something to do with Princess Celestia, maybe even some sort of intimate relationship. What happened to the Buffalo? The Buffalo only had a role in one episode, Over a Barrel. Other times were merely cameos in the background. It's strange that in all 9 seasons of the show, they never had a follow-up episode. Did something happen between them and the Settler Ponies after their Spotlight episode? G1 Negative Emotional Aura. G1 is known for its dark moments, particularly in the first TV special, Rescue at Midnight Castle. The special includes scenes of ponies hopelessly running for their lives, being enslaved, and turned into dragons by a way scarier version of T-Rex. Luna's life on the moon. During the thousands of years Princess Luna was trapped on the moon, what did she do? Was she just sitting there? Was she put into some sort of catatonic state? Maybe there's something about the moon that the creators of Friendship is Magic haven't revealed yet. Equestria Girls based on fan art. In the Toys That Made Us docu-series on Netflix, one of the designers for Friendship is Magic recalls how she saw a humanized version of Pinkie Pie and how that inspired the creation of the Equestria Girls toy line and movie. This could be true, but another explanation has to do with the trends at the time. In 2013, toy lines like Monster High and Ever After High were popular, so Hasbro most likely wanted to jump on the bandwagon with EQG. G2 and Friendship Gardens. Generation 2 was a short-lived reboot of MLP in the late 90s. The toy designs themselves are kind of ugly, but the art style on the packaging looks pretty appealing, and was even used for some G1 home media releases in the early 2000s. Though G2 didn't have any animated material, it did receive a game for Windows in 1998. The game is a pet simulator that has you creating and taking care of your own pony, as well as playing minigames with other ponies. The game has trouble working on modern PCs, so if you want to run it, My Little Wiki recommends using DOSBox. I miss my brother. In the Pony Life episode Big Hoof Walking, Pinkie Pie recounts how she and her brother apparently followed a trail of breadcrumbs to a mysterious house in the woods, and how she hasn't seen him since. The character returns in a later episode, but what about in Friendship is Magic? If Pony Life takes place in the same continuity, where's Pinkie's brother? Pinkie's timeline. Pinkie Pie has been shown multiple times to be able to break the laws of physics at will. This, coupled with her ESP, made people wonder why she's like this. Short answer is that it's just the show staff trying to be funny, but some people think it might have to do with Grogar's bewitching bell. In The End of the End Part 2, Pinkie Pie takes the bell for a second and becomes all-powerful. What if this affected the entire timeline of her life, and now she has those abilities in her past and her future? Mean Six Original Edit. The episode The Mean Six has a scene where evil versions of the Main Six are melted by the Tree of Harmony. In the original cut of the episode, the scene was longer and more intense. When the episode aired, though, the scene was cut down for fear of it being too disturbing for kids. Whoa Nelly. Whoa Nelly is an incidental pony who only appears at the very end of the episode Rules of Rarity. Unlike other ponies, her character model is notable for having an entirely unique body type. Her cutie mark is a picture of her face, which goes along with her alternative name, the Love Yourself pony. The Storm King was originally T-Rex. The Storm King from the 2017 MLP movie has quite a few similarities to T-Rex from G1. Not only are their designs similar, but their plans are similar, needing 4 ponies to complete a magic spell that will allow them to take over the world. This, and the fact that the attack on Canterlot scene from the movie bears a striking resemblance to a similar scene from Rescue at Midnight Castle. Maybe the movie was originally written with T-Rex in mind, but was changed once the writers realized he was already a character in the G4 series. Or it's just a coincidence. Hourglass Cutie Mark. A popular headcanon is one for the Hourglass Cutie Mark that can be seen on a few background ponies. Some say it's just a placeholder cutie mark for ponies who still don't know what they're going to do in life, with the hourglass representing the waiting period for figuring it out. Alcoholic cider. In America, there's a big distinction between alcoholic and non-alcoholic cider. In Canada, where Friendship is Magic is produced, most cider is alcoholic. Along with this, ponies can be seen getting drunk off of it in the comics. So is the cider alcoholic or not? If it is, that might explain why you only see grown ponies drinking it. Newborn Cuties. Newborn Cuties is a series of direct-to-DVD shorts featuring baby versions of the G3 characters. Known for their low-quality animation, voice acting, and writing, many fans consider the series to be the low point and the absolute worst piece of MLP media in the entire franchise. Every generation is connected. Every generation of MLP more or less takes place in its own continuity. G1, G3, and G4 are seemingly not connected outside of reusing characters, right? The theory goes that the MLP timeline is actually something like The Legend of Zelda, which branches off at crucial segments in the story. For example, you have a timeline where, in Ocarina of Time, Link defeats Ganon and stays an adult, another timeline where he returns to being a child, and one where Ganon wins. If this video gets popular, I'll make a follow-up explaining the theory in better detail. My Pretty Pony. My Pretty Pony was a preschool toy designed in 1981 by Hasbro. My Pretty Pony was larger, heavier, and less stylized, though it kept a similar design and brushable mane. Next year, a smaller version of Hasbro's Pony toy was released and became a smash hit, giving us the MLP franchise we know today. The 7th element of harmony. In Friendship is Magic, there are 6 elements of harmony: loyalty, laughter, generosity, honesty, kindness, and magic. However, there are usually more than 6 main characters pictured in any given generation of MLP, including G4 with characters like Spike, Starlight Glimmer, and Sunset Shimmer. The animation director for Equestria Girls said on Twitter once that empathy could be the 7th element, relating it to Sunset. That accounts for her, and definitely Spike, and maybe Starlight. Friendship is magic is friendship is witchcraft abridged. Don't research this. I tried looking into this in more detail and got an email from Hasbro warning me about legal repercussions. So take from that what you will. Christianity. The ponies in G3 are shown to celebrate Christmas. Yes, Christmas. Not Xmas, not Heartswarming Eve, but the Christmas, as in Christ. And if Santa is real in that universe, then who's to say the ponies aren't some divine creatures created by the Christian God? Or maybe by something else. Pear Butter and Bright Mac were related. In real life, apples and pears are closely related. Why wouldn't that be the case in the show? This theory states that the reason that Grandpa and Granny Smith didn't want the two getting together was because they were distant relatives. If that's the case, then Applejack, Apple Blue, and Big Mac are products of incest. Yikes. Star Song and G4. The core 7 were the main characters featured in later years of G3. Pinkie Pie, Scootaloo, Toolaroola, Rainbow Dash, Sweetie Belle, and Cheerilee all had a minor cameo or significant role in G4. The last member, Star Song, never showed up in the Friendship is Magic TV show. Did the show staff just forget her? Or is there something about her character that made them not want to bring her back? Pony parts. Unlike some fan art would have you believe, the ponies in Friendship is Magic don't appear to have any reproductive organs, but they can reproduce like humans do. There has to be something we don't know about them. Maybe their anatomy is like Sawdachu. Or maybe everything is visible. The show just doesn't get a good angle to see what's going on exactly. EQG Earth isn't Earth. This theory is pretty simple. The dimension that Twilight goes to in EQG is close to our world, but isn't our world exactly. A pretty obvious point is that humans aren't green, purple, blue, etc. and don't have names like Rainbow Dash or Twilight Sparkle. They also don't seem to age. The main 7 are in high school for at least 5 years and never seem to deal with any sort of classes. In Friendship is Magic, the Cutie Mark Crusaders are supposed to be around 10 years old, where in the first Equestria Girls movie they're implied to be freshmen in high school. Cancelled Rainbow Ponies Special. At the end of the VHS release of Rescue at Midnight Castle, there's a short preview for a second MLP TV special. This one would have introduced the Rainbow Ponies, Spike with Wings, and various returning characters from the previous special. Instead of that, Escape from Katrina was released in 1986. We don't know why Rainbow Ponies was cancelled exactly. Some speculate it was to avoid parents calling it too dark like Rescue at Midnight Castle. Aside from the preview, the European VHS cover for Katrina has this unrelated artwork that people think could be a scrap cover or even a piece of concept art for Rainbow Ponies. The lost media enthusiast in me really wants to see this special found and preserved as a piece of MLP history. The lost media enthusiast in me really wants to see this special found and preserved as a piece of MLP history. But the realist in me knows there's a huge chance that the material for this thing could have been destroyed without a second thought by the animation studio. The truth about My Little Pony. This is a theory that states that Lauren Faust actually based Friendship is Magic on the lives of 6 real girls from North Carolina, who all lost their lives on the same day in 1989. Fluttershy was based on Samantha Gales, an introverted girl whose only friends were the animals she would rescue. Rarity on Janice Walters, who lost her life alongside her parents in a car crash. Rainbow Dash on Alexandra Matthews, an athlete who overdosed on performance enhancers. Applejack on Jamie Sanders, a farm girl who came from a poor family. Pinkie Pie on Katherine Jackson, who suffered from delusions and jumped off a building, believing she could fly. And Twilight on Cynthia Little, who took her own life after being caught cheating on a test. The most distressing part of this theory? It's not real. No teenage girls by these names existed in North Carolina in the 1980s. Finally, my MLP iceberg video is up. It took an entire day to upload. Well, looks like I can relax for the rest of the week. Hey guys, it's me, Shunks, coming to you live from the bunker with another MLP iceberg video. And guess what? We've got some shiny new icons, as well as a new microphone. As I mentioned in the last video, there are more things I wanted to cover about MLP that I just wasn't able to fit in or didn't even know about until I did some research. So let's get into it. Also, if you don't know how an iceberg video works, you might as well ask how breathing works, dude. Everybody gets it by now. Anyways, grab your limited edition silver Rainbow Dash apple juice and your rarity candy dispenser and get comfy as we dive deeper into the waters of the My Little Pony iceberg. Scootaloo the Chicken. According to the Pony Image Board Wiki, Scootaloo the Chicken is a common phrase from the episode Stairmaster, in which Scootaloo is called out for being afraid while looking for Fluttershy's escaped chicken. This X is a Y meme is used to describe chickens as Scootaloo, or Scootaloo as a chicken. Homophobic Rainbow Dash. Though it was outright confirmed in the show, Bronies really didn't like the idea of Rainbow Dash being gay, at least in the early years of the fandom. Either because they were just homophobic, or because they shipped their self-insert OCs with her. That era brought us some great unintentionally funny pictures. Like this one, and this absolute masterpiece. Every time you call Rainbow Dash lesbian, it rains somewhere. Bronies the Musical. Bronies the Musical is a musical about bronies, as in the fandom. The story follows 3 outsiders as they get absorbed into MLP. Songs from the show include The Sad Trombone, Wish Upon a Wish Book, and Janitor Blues. The whole thing is available for you to listen to on YouTube and Apple Music. Lost Flash Games. In 2020, Adobe discontinued their Flash plugin, leaving at least hundreds of games and animations lost. This includes a plethora of MLP content, official and fan-made, one of the notable examples being Ponymaker, which is exactly what it sounds like, an in-depth custom character creator for Friendship is Magic. Brony references in Friendship is Magic. As Friendship is Magic went on, more and more references to the fandom were snuck in by creators. This includes memes like 20% Cooler, and the show featuring popular background ponies in prominent roles. This came to a climax in the episode Slice of Life, which was essentially a big love letter to the Bronies. Heck, there are some references even I didn't get. That just shows how thorough they were. Spike at Your Service Original Draft. The Season 3 episode, Spike at Your Service, features Spike becoming Applejack's servant after she saves his life. The original version of the episode had Rarity as the one that saved Spike's life. Her role in the story was replaced with Applejack after the writers thought that she came off as mean and unlikable towards Spike. The original script for the episode has never resurfaced, and there's a good chance it probably never will. 2009 Animation Test. A year after the show Bible was produced, a short 2-minute test animation was made by Hasbro for Friendship is Magic. The test features Twilight, Pinkie Pie, and Rainbow Dash, and follows a similar story to the Season 1 episode Feeling Pinkie Keen. Throughout the entire thing, there's no music, only ambience. All 3 ponies are voiced by Tara Strong, unlike in the final show where they each have different voice actors. That can be chalked up to it only being a quick thing to show to investors and never meant to be seen by the public, and for a while it actually couldn't be seen by the public. The test surfaced in 2019, fairly recently, and just after Friendship is Magic ended. Billy and Mandy predicted Bronies. An episode of The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy features a parody of My Little Pony and Friends, called My Troubled Pony. The plot of the episode hinges on Grim being highly invested in the show, even though it's a cartoon about ponies made for little girls. The episode came out in 2005, 5 years before Bronies would even become a thing. Did the writers of Billy and Mandy know something that the rest of us don't? Dark Skies. Sam Hyde is an infamous alt-right comedian, most well known for his hoaxes and pranks. One of these was Dark Skies, a fake Kickstarter made to scam Bronies out of their money. It was said to be a dating sim, featuring over 50 dateable ponies and over 100 hours of gameplay. Unsurprisingly, the project never reached its $7,500 goal, with Hyde taking the money and running away with it. If you want a more in-depth look at this, watch Izzy's video that she made about the incident. Animated James. Animated James was an animator who was most well known for his MLP animations, like Sonic vs. Rainbow Dash, Beyond Her Garden, and Tropical Octave 3. His other works included his Sonic parodies, the Marvel musical, and an original series called Sea Students. His quote-unquote most recent contribution to the fandom was the Brony Polka, an 8-minute medley of MLP fan music in the style of Weird Al. What most people seem to remember is that he got bullied off the internet after somebody found his fart fetish blog on Tumblr. What isn't brought up as much is how he made fetish art featuring child characters and reportedly dated an underage girl at one point. My original plan was to end the segment with a farewell to James, wherever he is now, but I think I'll just end it by saying I really looked up to him back in the day, and wanted to make animations for YouTube like his when I got older. Now, man, I don't know. Main 6 mental disorders. A post on MLPforums.com goes into detail about the main six and how they all could possibly be suffering from some sort of mental disorder. Twilight shows symptoms of APD and avoidant personality. Fluttershy has social anxiety, Pinkie Pie and Rarity both have HBD, Rainbow Dash has hypomania, and Applejack has self-defeating personality disorder. I don't think these are true, but OP does make some pretty good points. People have also liked to headcanon characters as being neurodivergent, which I think is actually pretty cool. Slenderman. The Slenderman is a famous character created by Eric Knudsen in 2009 for a Photoshop contest on the Something Awful forums. The character is known for his pale, featureless face and his slender build, hence the name. A pony version of this character, aptly named Slenderman, appeared in the episode Pinkie Apple Pie for a few seconds. He can be seen hiding in the background, similar to the way Slenderman is often depicted. Little Miss Rarity. Little Miss Rarity is a creepypasta in a similar vein to Cupcakes and Rainbow Factory. A description from the creator's old Tumblr blog says that, quote, "It's the story of Rarity after a dark, stormy night when Opal scratched her, pissed her off, and was accidentally killed by her. What followed was a gradual descent into madness and nightmares where Rarity's life and sanity fell irreversibly apart." CERN Ritual Hoax Predictive Programming. The CERN ritual was a hoax held at the European Organization for Nuclear Research in 2013, made to look like a human sacrifice was taking place in front of a statue of the Hindu goddess Shiva. The video gave rise to several tinfoil hat conspiracy theories about CERN working for the Illuminati, and using their Large Hadron Collider to open a portal to hell and summon the Antichrist. A YouTube video points out the similarities between this conspiracy theory and the first movie in the Equestria Girls series. The movie follows Twilight as she steps through a portal. The other side of the portal is portrayed as a statue in the middle of a courtyard, like the one used for the ritual. Sunset Shimmer is also said to be an allegory for the Antichrist, going through the portal to our world and taking on a demonic form. The timeline theory. Well, here we are. I promised this in the last video, so here's the basic gist. This theory speculates that every piece of My Little Pony media takes place in the same continuity, with an interconnected branching timeline. Think the Zelda timeline, but for MLP. It goes as follows. G1. We open on Ponyland, a fantasy realm loosely connected to ours through interdimensional rainbow portals, like the Bifrost from Norse mythology. In Ponyland, the ponies learn to band together against whatever threat to their existence they face. These include T-Rex, Grogar, and the Smooths, among others. G4. With the ponies' foes out of the way, their society is allowed to progress into a form of medieval feudalism. The unicorn's magic gives them the ability to close the rainbow portals and block out the outside world, guaranteeing them more safety from otherworldly evils. This gives us an explanation as to why we never see humans in some other generations. Tensions grow between the three pony tribes, but thanks to the fire of friendship, they end their fighting and found a new land called Equestria, far away from their old home. Equestria is relatively peaceful for the next 20,000 years under the rule of multiple princesses, including Celestia, Luna, and Twilight Sparkle. This is the part where the timeline begins to branch off. Timeline Split 1. In the Season 3 finale of Friendship is Magic, Twilight gets wings and becomes the Princess of Friendship. In the good timeline, Friendship is Magic continues into Season 4 and onwards, ending the good timeline. But in the bad timeline, Pony Life. No, I'm not kidding, this is actually part of the theory. Pony Life represents the start of the bad timeline. Since the heroes of Equestria are goofing off, drinking potions that do God knows what in their mind, the land would obviously fall into ruin. Or at least the three tribes would separate, which brings us to My Little Pony Tales. In this series, the Earth ponies can be seen living on their own. Only once do we see any other types of ponies, meaning that unicorns, pegasi, and alicorns are somewhat hidden away from the Earth ponies, possibly because they moved back to Ponyland. G3. Generations 3 and 3.5 give us a happy ending. Throughout the series of early G3 specials, we see Earth ponies, pegasi, and unicorns all coming together, ending that branch of the timeline. Generation 5. This is probably going to age the video by a lot, but Generation 5 is the next generation of MLP, set to premiere with a theatrical CGI film in September 2021. The only thing that's been confirmed recently is that there'd be a new cast of ponies instead of the main 6. Everything else we know about G5 came from a leak a few years back. The leak contained emails from inside Hasbro describing what G5 would be exactly. The most famous of these emails discusses adding more boy characters to the main cast, and having the show take place across different dimensions, like Star vs. the Forces of Evil. Well, whatever happens, I'll be down for it. On February 25th, Hasbro's going to be holding an investors meeting. Hopefully then we'll get some definitive info about G5, what the art style will look like, who our main characters will be, etc. Until then, the best we can do is bide our time and lie in wait. Sonic Underground. It's been over 2 months since my last My Little Pony iceberg. Since then, I've been swamped with suggestions about interesting and dark aspects of the MLP franchise to cover in a future video, enough to fill an entire iceberg on its own. Not only that, but I managed to find this, the original 4chan MLP iceberg. Back when I made the first video, the only picture I could find of this one was incredibly blurry and impossible to make out. But now, after finding a clean version of it, I have more than enough material to work with for another video. But there are some things I had to keep out of this one, things that either yielded no results on Google, or things I want to relegate to their own separate iceberg, like Equestria Girls or the earlier generations. Before we start, I want to clear a few things up that I got wrong or didn't really explain that well in the last video, so let's get those out of the way. Things I got wrong. Friendship is Magic is Friendship is Witchcraft abridged. This was a joke. Apparently it wasn't all that funny. Friendship is Witchcraft, FIW, is an abridged series that takes footage from Friendship is Magic, so I thought it would be funny if there was a fake theory like, oh, what if Friendship is Witchcraft is the real show and Hasbro steals footage from it to use in theirs? The reason I think this was kind of confusing is that all the other entries on the iceberg are based in real facts or theories that have at least some evidence, but yeah, for anybody confused about that, there you go. I also didn't bring up why Lyra's whole wanting to be a human thing was there. It was because of how she sits in the background of certain shots. Sort of like how humans do, which is different compared to how other ponies in the show sit. Despite looking identical to like a younger Pinkie Pie, Little Cheese is actually a boy, as confirmed by one of the writers. The Rainbow Factory song actually came first. The fanfiction was inspired by it, not the other way around. Now that those are over with, let's take another deep dive into the My Little Pony iceberg, starting with Level 1. 15.ai. 15.ai is a program from MIT that can create text-to-speech voices out of certain characters from various franchises. Examples include SpongeBob, TF2, Steven Universe, and My Little Pony. The pony voices have been used for a number of things, from having them read off famous copypastas to recreating scenes from Friendship is Witchcraft. Fimfiction. Fimfiction is a site inspired by fanfiction.net where users can upload their MLP fanfics for all to see. MLP Manga. My Little Pony, A Day in the Life of Equestria, is a manga series written by David Lumsden and illustrated by Shie. A snippet from the first volume's Amazon page tells us that the world of My Little Pony comes alive in this distinctive manga series that spotlights each of the main 6 and a host of other characters from the land of Equestria. My Little Pony, Fighting is Magic, was a planned fan game based on Friendship is Magic that was cancelled after Hasbro sent the developers a cease and desist letter. The project then caught the attention of Lauren Faust, who offered to create original character designs for the game. In place of the My Little Pony IP, the game was retooled into Them's Fightin' Herds, which was released on Steam in 2020. Audio dramas are a lesser-known genre of MLP fan works. The most recognizable of these are Bride of Discord and Daughter of Discord, which follow future versions of the characters in Friendship is Magic, along with their fan-made offspring. Discord never reformed. This theory states that Discord never truly became a better person, that he's only pretending to be good for Fluttershy's sake. This is somewhat true, I guess. Discord never stops being himself, but after Keep Calm and Flutter On, he's more of a pain in the neck instead of being straight up evil. Brony fan songs. In the original iceberg, I mentioned Discord by Eurobeat Brony and its remix by Living Tombstone. However, there are tons more fan-made MLP songs from over the years that people remember. Examples include Lyra's Anthropology, Love Me Cheerily, and Nightmare Night. Fan animated series / shorts. I got a lot of these as suggestions in the past 2 videos, so I'm going to speed through all of them in one entry to save time. Double Rainboom, Snowdrop, Rainbow Dash Presents, the Mentally Advanced series, I know it's not new animation but it's by the same guy, MLP meets Portal, Spitfire's Day Off, Pony Sliding into Boxes, The Moon Rises, Flufflepuff, and Dusk's Dawn. One of these days I want to do a retrospective on some of them. I should also bring up the source filmmaker pony animations, whether humorous, sad, or not safe for work, because those are a big part of the fandom too. Kevin the Changeling. Kevin the Changeling was a character who appeared in the episode Slice of Life during Cranky and Matilda's wedding. This is the first example of a friendly changeling that appeared in the show. Pink-haired Celestia. This could be referring to Princess Molestia, but I think this could also be talking about the off-model Celestia toys from early G4. Hasbro apparently thought that making her coat white wouldn't appeal to little girls, so she was portrayed as pink in the first few waves of the toy line. She also had a voice box that said, "Let's fly to the castle," a phrase which became somewhat of a meme. Later, Celestia Toys changed her coat color back due to complaints that she didn't look like the show. My Little Dashie. My Little Dashie is a fanfiction about a guy finding Rainbow Dash in the real world. From what I remember, the story is laughably melodramatic, with Rainbow Dash running away and crying once she finds out she's actually a cartoon character instead of a real horse. Ponies the Anthology. Ponies the Anthology is a series of videos featuring edited clips from Friendship is Magic. The series was created by Zephyrstar and ran for 7 episodes. Nightmare in the Hourglass. In Friendship is Magic Part 1, the first episode, during a scene where Twilight walks in front of an hourglass, the face of Nightmare Moon can be seen projected onto a statue in the background. I'm surprised this isn't brought up as much, it's a really well-hidden Easter egg. Dead Timelines. In the Season 5 finale, Twilight travels across different timelines as a result of Starlight Glimmer stopping Rainbow Dash from performing her first Sonic Rainboom. People have theorized how these different ones came to be, like how King Sombra, Chrysalis, or the Flim Flam brothers were able to completely destroy Equestria. We also see this timeline with a completely barren landscape. What happened here? I guess we'll never know the answer. Century-old Granny Smith. Though we don't know how old Ponyville is exactly, it's pretty safe to say that the town is over 100 years old. If that's the case, then Granny Smith must have lived for over a century, seeing as how Ponyville was founded when she was young. MLP Horror Games. There are MLP creepypastas and MLP creepypasta videos, but what about MLP-related horror games? There are a few. Examples include Story of the Blanks, My Little Amnesia, and the various MLP mods for SCP Containment Breach. MLP Grimdarks. This was another one that I got a ton of suggestions for. Along with your standard Cupcakes and Rainbow Factory, there are a few more grimdark MLP fanfics that traumatized readers back in the day. Examples include The Cough, Diaries of a Madman, and The Rose of Life, which I think is a comic actually. There are too many of these to name, and the big recognizable ones I think I already went over, so sorry if X Pony Goes Insane and Kills People fanfic number 10,834 didn't make it onto the iceberg. Level 2. Gak is back. Gak is a type of slime that was released back in 1992 and is still sold today. Commercials for Gak flooded the Hub Network's commercial breaks in 2012. So much in fact that it became a small meme in the MLP community, due to the commercials always interrupting new episodes. Brony Square. Brony Square was an MLP website that's described as one of the fandom's longest running social network / RP sites. In 2017, the site shut down, leaving at least hundreds of threads and posts lost to time. Twilight becomes a dictator. This theory states that after taking over the throne from Celestia and Luna in Season 9, Twilight began to rule Equestria with an iron hoof. In the time skip at the end of the series, we see the people of Equestria relatively happy and Twilight ruling alongside her friends. So maybe that changed? Maybe she was a dictator originally, then her friends told her to knock it off? Teleportation is death. There's nothing about this online, but I can infer what this means. The theory might be that whenever a unicorn or alicorn uses their teleportation powers, the original self is destroyed, and they spawn a clone in the area that they teleport to. Mr. Davy was a show animator. The animator behind Cupcakes and Smile HD has never outed themselves publicly. On various different accounts, his exact location is marked as different places from around the world, from Canada to the Democratic Republic of the Congo. His YouTube page also used to mention him being an animator who previously worked at Disney, Cartoon Network, and Hasbro. If he happened to work on Friendship is Magic, it's pretty safe to assume how he was able to replicate the show's style so well. Applejack can't read. Applejack can be seen reading in multiple episodes, but how do we know she's not just faking it? That story she tells the tree and over a barrel could be completely made up. Minuet is a regeneration of the Doctor. Since Minuet and Doctor Who's have the same cutie mark, they could be a regeneration of the same character. Like how in Doctor Who, the Doctor regenerates into a new form every 10 years or so. I don't know that much about Doctor Who, but I've never seen two versions of the Doctor interact, so that's probably a point against this theory. First, natural-born alicorn. This is probably referring to Flurryheart and how she's the only alicorn to be born with wings and a horn. Others like Celestia, Luna, Cadence, and Twilight had to earn their wings, while here she has them right out of the gate. Celestia's Statue Garden. This could be referring to the actual statue garden in the show and how there might be different characters frozen in there that we've never seen, but there's also a fanfiction called Statue Garden, where Twilight gets turned into a statue by Celestia, or almost gets turned into one. I don't remember it all that well. Pony Life fanbase purgation. What was the purpose of Pony Life? Was it actually made to reach a new, younger audience? Or did Hasbro make Pony Life to scare away bronies from the franchise? Given the reputation of the fandom in the mid to late 2010s, Hasbro probably didn't want the My Little Pony brand name to be associated with it anymore. Discord is Grogar. In Season 9, the mysterious Grogar turns out to be Discord in disguise, trying to test Twilight's power by creating a new villain. But what if it's the other way around? What if the original Grogar from pre-Equestrian history somehow transformed himself into the creature that we now know as Discord? The Usual. The Usual is a webcomic that depicts the two spa ponies being intimate with various other mares. In a few episodes, we can see ponies asking for the usual when going to the Ponyville spa. Maybe what they're referring to is a lot more similar to the comic than to anything we see in the show. Level 3. Some Pony to Watch Over Me, full song. In the episode Some Pony to Watch Over Me, Applebloom sings the beginning of a song before being interrupted by Scootaloo. It's rumored that a full version of the song existed in an earlier draft of the episode or somewhere in Hasbro's files. Discord is Fluttershy's imaginary friend. Pretty easily disproved, but it's fun to think about how much of MLP is actually made up because of Fluttershy imagining Discord being there, or how her imagination was so powerful that Discord manifested into the real world. Celestia responsible for all villains. Celestia's actions have led to the creation of Nightmare Moon, but what about the other villains? We don't get that much insight on Closey Glow or Chrysalis's backstory, so Celestia might have something to do with it. Aside from that, this theory doesn't have that many legs to stand on. Sombra and T-Rex backstories are completely removed from Celestia along with a lot of the show's minor villains. But you never know, maybe it could be a butterfly effect. The Diamond Dogs were rappers. In the original show Bible, the Diamond Dogs were originally supposed to be depicted as gangsta rappers who were obsessed with bling. In the title of their introduction episode, A Dog and a Pony Show, the dog was spelled D-A-W-G. We don't know why this was changed exactly, but maybe Hasbro thought the idea didn't fit in the world of MLP, or could have been seen as a racial stereotype. Elements of harmony are Kabbalah-tree. The Kabbalah tree, or Tree of Life, is a diagram used in various mystical traditions. The diagram resembles a tree, obviously, composed of different nodes. This is similar to the way the Tree of Harmony is depicted in MLP, with various things that make up friendship on different branches of the tree. Afterlife is Equestria. Man, I wish. Twilight created Spike. This theory states that the reason Spike is so much like a pony is not because he was raised like one, but because he was created by Twilight when she hatches the egg, during her magic exam, effectively making Spike Twilight's son. Cancelled anime adaptation. There is a My Little Pony manga, and the Japanese version of the Friendship is Magic intro resembles an anime opening, but this theory is fake. There is a ton of anime fan art of MLP, but no official anime was ever in production. Health of Information Tree Corpses. In the episode A Health of Information, Zecora gets infected with a disease that turns her into a tree. In the beginning of the episode, we can see a group of trees that Zecora was supposed to turn into, until Fluttershy gave her the antidote. It's theorized that these trees are actually ponies that didn't find the antidote in time and were unfortunately transformed, killing them in the process. Carat Scale. In the episode Secret of My Excess, Rarity mentions that an oversized ruby is at least 20 carats. In reality, a 20-carat ruby looks like this on a human hand. From this, it can be inferred that the ponies in the show could fit in the palm of your hand, making them the size of the actual toys. Daybreaker and Nightmare Moon are original selves. Pretty self-explanatory. Daybreaker and Nightmare Moon might represent Celestia and Luna releasing their full magic potential, or true forms. The normal princesses we see are when they're holding it in. That sounded wrong. Level 4. Authoritarian Equestria. Equestria is technically a monarchy, or a dictatorship. Unlike with Twilight's reign, we never see any sort of senate or council, so you could technically call Equestria an authoritarian regime. Fallout Equestria is canon. This one is also pretty self-explanatory. The fanfic Fallout Equestria could technically be canon to the show, since it takes place in the same world. Although, the fanfic was written when the show was still airing, so it might have left out some aspects of the story that were introduced later. Like Twilight's Castle or the School of Friendship. Mastermind Star Swirl. This is probably referring to the theory that Star Swirl either predicted or knowingly kicked off the events of Friendship is Magic before being sent to the Aether. The Tree of Harmony, the main six, the defeat of Nightmare Moon, and everything after could have been cleverly planned out by him for whatever purpose. Molestia Controversy. In the first iceberg, I mentioned the Princess Molestia Tumblr blog, but didn't bring up the controversy that came with it. After her 12-year-old sister came across the blog while looking for regular MLP content, one Tumblr user named Pinky Pony spearheaded a campaign called Down with Molestia. Ever since then, the debate about NSFW content being prevalent in the MLP community online has sort of died down. But with G5 coming out and a lot of younger fans recounting their experiences, there's no doubt that something like Down with Molestia will happen again, and probably on a larger scale. Twilacorn imprisons Twilight. My best guess for this one is that at the end of Season 3, Celestia creates an identical clone of Twilight with wings and imprisons the real Twilight, sort of like the teleportation is death thing I mentioned earlier. Real horses. The episode The Best Night Ever, Twilight performs a spell on some mice to turn them into realistically proportioned horses. Does that mean that real horses exist in the MLP universe? The main six are surprised by this, but not outright disturbed like most people would be if they saw a mouse get transformed into a lankier version of them that was 2 times their size. Friendship is Magic is pony superiority propaganda. Though in the later seasons, the show portrays non-pony creatures as valid members of society, earlier seasons weren't too kind. Species like dragons, griffins, changelings, and buffalo were never shown in a positive light. The only species who were the ones who were the closest to ponies, like mules and zebra. The Faust-Zachary feud. This seemingly refers to a feud between Lauren Faust and Bonnie Zachary, the original creator of the My Little Pony toy line from the 1980s. It's unknown when the feud between the two of them started, or if there's any evidence of it. The most likely reason I can think of for why this would happen is how successful G4 was. I'm sure Bonnie Zachary must have had some aversion to Lauren taking most of the credit for her creation nowadays. Faust sold her soul. Faust is an old German legend, about a man who sells his soul to the devil in exchange for unlimited knowledge and worldly pleasures. Since the character in the story and the creator of Friendship is Magic share a similar name, this entry could have meant that she somehow sold her soul to make Friendship is Magic as successful as it was. Hypothetically, that makes a lot of sense, if Lauren never specified which audience she wanted the show to be popular with, and the devil could have twisted her wish and made bronies a thing. Lauren Faust is Nyx Poster. Nyx is an Alicorn OC created by fanfic author Penstroke. The character became a meme on 4chan's MLP board, who coined the term Nyx posting. There's really no evidence that Lauren Faust ever contributed to this, or if she even knows of the character. Recalled products. The 4chan iceberg mentioned something called Friendship Cutie Mark stencils that were apparently recalled, but I wasn't able to find anything about that. What I did manage to find, though, was that in 2018, a brand of My Little Pony lollipops were recalled in Australia after they were found to contain poisonous levels of lead. The pops were recalled from stores the day after Halloween, so luckily no children suffered from lead poisoning as a result of Twilight Sparkle and Friends. Level 5. Milky Way and the Galaxy Girls. Milky Way and the Galaxy Girls was a doll line that Lauren Faust pitched to Hasbro in the 2000s. The main characters would have all been based on different cosmic bodies, like the sun, the moon, and various planets. Only one wave of toys were produced, and many ideas from the line were adapted into the 2008 pitch for My Little Pony Adventures, which later became My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Celestia and Twilight are related. This theory might be that Twilight is Celestia's real mother, and her parents adopted her as a cover-up. If that's the case, then who's the father? It could also be how after Shining Armor and Cadence got married, Twilight is technically related to Celestia, since Cadence is Celestia's niece. Plush holes. Custom MLP plushies have been a big part of the fandom for many years. Some of them, though, have a mysterious hole where the rear end would be. And others are way more explicit. One example of this comes in the infamous Lyra plush incident. I won't show what the backside looks like, but this thing was put up for auction on an adult toy website, to the disgust of everyone there. Plushies with these holes can still be found today, if you know where to look. Most listings for these are completely brand new, while others are described as slightly used. Derpy was intentional. Most people know that Derpy was based on a supposed animation error in the first episode. Or was it even an error? Was Derpy put in there by some animator who thought a cross-eyed Pegasus would be a funny Easter egg? Or was she planned from the start by Lauren Faust? CWC cameo. During a crowd shot in the episode Once Upon a Zeppelin, 3 ponies can be seen that bear a striking resemblance to a younger version of internet personality Chris Chan, along with Barbara and Robert Chandler, Chris Chan's parents. In terms of celebrity cameos in MLP, I'm surprised this one isn't brought up more, if you could even consider Chris Chan a celebrity. Lauren is a Vogel sympathizer. Michael Vogel was an episode writer of MLP starting with Season 6. This theory is probably that Lauren Faust approved of his writing the most, as she might have thought it matched what her original vision of the show was. Probably not, but that's my best guess. Fake leaks. A variety of MLP leaks throughout the years have been straight up fake. Most of the ones I found have the vibe of those fake Smash 4 leaks. You know, the ones where they would just plop a render of a character into the fighter select screen and then take a grainy photo of their computer with their phone. Since the show's over, we know that none of these are actually real, but some of them are actually pretty funny. Like, who even is this guy? Sergeant Sprinkles was Larson. Sergeant Sprinkles was the author of the original Cupcakes fanfiction. Another pretty self-explanatory theory, this fanfic could have possibly been written by M.A. Larson, who is one of Friendship is Magic's more well-known writers. Level 6. Sad My Little Pony. Sad My Little Pony is the name of a video that was uploaded in 2013. The video is a slideshow of different pieces of fan art. Most of them feature various ponies mourning the death of another character. The video is infamous for the sheer amount of people who remember watching it when they were young and being oddly moved by the video and its use of the song I Miss You by Avril Lavigne. Supercharge Our Blueprint. Supercharge Our Blueprint refers to Hasbro's motto from their February 2021 investors meeting. The phrase became a meme after bronies tuned into the presentation in order to get more information about G5. The phrase might even be the quote-unquote first proper brony meme of G5, depending on who you ask. Faust paid Dubbuck to sabotage the show. Nicole Dubbuck is the writer and story editor for the later seasons of Friendship is Magic. This is another one of those Lauren Faust theories that isn't really based in anything, but apparently this is about Lauren Faust paying Nicole to ruin Friendship is Magic after Faust left the show due to creative differences. Stars are imprisoned ponies. It's well established that in Friendship is Magic, Celestia was able to trap Luna on the moon, but what about the stars? For all we know, there could be other ponies trapped in there too, right? Mando Pony. Mando Pony was a famous brony musician and the mind behind songs like Loyalty, Picture Perfect Pony, and Dusk's Descent. In 2020, Mando Pony was accused of inappropriate relations and actions with minors, as well as cheating on his wife. As early as 2012, Mando was known for being creepy and even branded as Mando Pedo by members of 4chan's MLP board. Bohemian Owl. The Bohemian Owl is a symbol of Bohemian Grove, an organization believed to be associated with Freemasonry and the Illuminati. In the episode Owl's Well That Ends Well, Spike can be seen reading a book with the same logo. Could this be subliminal Illuminati messaging in MLP? Clone replacement. I've talked about this twice already, so I don't know what the other clone replacement theories could even be. Maybe the reason that the main six are so flanderized in the later seasons is because they are periodically replaced by clones? Or maybe the Starlight that we see in Season 6 Beyond is a clone? I mean, they do have a different hairstyle, and completely different personalities. White Overmare. I'm not even gonna try. No, I'm not touching that one. Nicole Oliver is Celestia. Nicole Oliver is the voice actor for Celestia and Shirley in Friendship is Magic. This theory most likely goes that the real Nicole Oliver is actually Celestia, after she somehow stepped through the Equestria Girls portal into our world. The first brony. Who is the first brony? Technically, the first official brony was this Anon, who coined the term on 4chan's co-board back in 2010. People also like to call Chris Chan the first brony, since Chris Chan was a fan of MLP since the 2000s, even making a pony Sona. In the Toys That Made Us episode about MLP, the original designer of Spike the Dragon claims that he was the first original brony. Well, whoever it is, I think changes depending on your definition of the term. Pony Tulpa Incident. Tulpas are defined as a concept in mysticism and the paranormal of a being or object which is created through spiritual or mental powers. Or, more simply put, an imaginary friend, but on crack. People who create tulpas have to bend their mind to make themselves believe that whatever character they conjure up is real, right in front of them. Back in the day, a few people decided to create tulpas of their favorite MLP characters. The results were unexpected, to say the least. The personalities of the ponies that the people had made up began to infect the rest of their mind, sort of acting as a split personality. One Anon from MLP recounted their experience with making a Pinkie Pie tulpa, and how it went horribly, horribly wrong. Fluffies. Okay, trigger warning for this part, I don't show anything, but I still think it's pretty disturbing, so skip ahead a bit if you don't want to hear about this. The Fluffy fandom is a subcategory of the MLP fandom that started on 4chan in the early 2010s. It centers around art of these fluffy ponies, or fluffies as they're called. Not to be confused with Flufflepuff, who's an entirely different thing. While Flufflepuff is cute and innocent, most art of these fluffies depict them being tortured or them having their lives ended in various disgusting ways. Abuse is only one category of fluffy art though. Other categories include Smarty Abuse, Hug Box, Sad Box, and Weird Box. The official Fluffy Pony website claims the reason that people make disturbing art like this is because it's a metaphor for man's relationship with God. Fluffies represent mankind. Sometimes God is kind to them, but most of the time they're brutalized for seemingly no reason. Rarity says the fuck word. A few years ago, audio outtakes from Season 9 of Friendship is Magic were leaked, which contained voice lines of the actors swearing in character. Alongside Rarity, characters like Granny Smith and Trixie can be heard here, saying things that would get Friendship is Magic taken off the air. Take a listen.
Praline? Smells great, Applejack. I'm gonna go wash my behind for supper. Go wash my lady parts. We do not fuck me blue.
Make sure.
Oh, fuck. Shit.
Our little Twilight, all grown up. Should we tell her we've cleared out... Should we tell her we've cleared out our... Motherfucker.
Well, of course not. Don't you see? It's the first shift in royal power in over a millennium. Fuck me hard.
And there we are. Let me take you back to December 2020 when I first opened up Audacity and began recording the script for the first iceberg. At the time, I was half sure I would even be able to finish it. It seemed like one of those pipe dream projects that you get really into and then you realize you just couldn't. Like, you couldn't. I can't. Nevertheless, she persisted. I got that done. By that time, it was January. I posted it. The audio was out of sync. I deleted it. I posted it again. And that original video kind of sucks. It really sucks. There are even things about the other two that I'm not the most proud of. But with the support I've gotten from all of you, I've had the drive to get better and to not give up. If the first 4 or 5 videos I made were just out there in the YouTube void, like I was predicting they would be, I probably wouldn't have gone beyond those and just moved on to something else. But here we are. It's crazy to think that we're at where we're at right now, and it's all thanks to you guys. It really is. I can't thank you enough, and I know it's corny and the typical YouTuber thing to say, especially for somebody who's had like an iceberg video blow up. Like if I was watching this video right now, I'd click off. For a fact, I would click off, but you know. And I'm saying it because it's true. I said in the Q&A special, I knew it would get some traction, but did I really expect it to blow up like this much? No, that was a dream. I wanted it, but there was no guarantee just because I did this thing that this would be such a large part of my life for the next year. And I do plan to continue making videos. I want to have time for this because I really do love it, like making them, the writing and all that. Some videos not so much, but when I like a video I'm making, I really like it. A big theme in the videos I want to put out this year is going to be, well, this year or next year, depending on when this is out. 2022 is going to be looking at older MLP fan content from the 2010s. That's something that, with the proper lens, can be explored in some pretty fun and interesting ways, and I've already done that a few times. Also, the Generation 1 iceberg is still coming out. That's the one standalone gen I need to cover in this format, and trust me, you will not be let down. In the meantime, yeah, that's right, the video isn't over. Sit back down, young man. Don't forget to subscribe, click on the little notification bell so that you don't miss out on any new videos or live streams. Leave a like and comment if you want to help this video and the channel reach more people, you know, for the algorithm. Don't forget to follow me on my socials, linked below, for art, updates, and other random stuff. And a special shout out to my Yak tier supporters on Patreon: Cascadiarch, Bad Bessie, Damian, Booth Taste, Marshmallow, Zeflo, and Goose Nerd. Hopefully, I'll be running into all you guys, not just the patrons, all you guys later.